If you are a young man in your 20s, this is exactly what I wish somebody would have told me when I was going through my journey. Now, just for reference, this year I turned 30, and so I wrapped up my 20s. And as we approach the new year, obviously there comes some reflection. And so I wanted to share some thoughts about what it means to be in your 20s after going through it myself so that you can have the best mindset possible and at least learn from my mistakes. Now, the first thing I want to say is that your 20s is all about throwing shit at the wall and just seeing what sticks. It's also hard to do this at this time because usually you're the most sensitive at this time. You know, you're just giving things a new shot. You haven't necessarily tried this kind of stuff before. So it's new territory. It can feel really uncomfortable. And I totally understand that if you are in that position right now, you're just in a lot of discomfort. Just know that it's normal. You know, back then I used to try to escape the discomfort. I would try to just numb myself, and ultimately that just kept me stuck. And I didn't realize until later on in my 20s that this is the whole point. There should be resistance. There should be friction. It's not supposed to be smooth sailing all the way through. And I used to beat myself up, man. I used to beat myself up for all the discomfort I would feel. I would just wonder, like, why can't I feel confident in every single thing that I do? Why am I always second guessing myself? Why am I always struggling? And ultimately, it was me against myself. It was just in my head. It wasn't necessarily true that I was quote unquote struggling. It was my perspective on the things that I was doing that was causing more suffering. So the lesson there is to reframe your perspective. Understand that there's going to be a lot of shit in your 20s that isn't going to work out. About 90% of it, honestly, is not going to work out. Relationships, business ventures, content ideas. Not everything is supposed to work out, and that's what makes it so beautiful, because once you really find your way, you find your path, and you really go down that, you realize that all of those failures led you right here to this moment, and you wouldn't trade it for a thing. Now, the next big lesson that I learned through my 20s is to say yes to everything until you can't. Let me explain that. So when I was fresh out of college, I had already been building a photography business at this time. It was honestly by accident. I just always had a camera with me, so people saw me as the photographer guy who would shoot graduation photos, who would shoot stuff for small businesses, who would capture events for Greek life, like intramural sports and whatnot. And then obviously once people graduated from college, they still saw me as the photography guy. And so when they, went on to get married or start a new business or whatever, usually I was the go-to. And it was because of my fraternity and being involved in Greek life that gave me all of these opportunities. And I said yes to literally every single thing. I remember the first wedding I shot, it was a fraternity brother of mine. He was like, "Hey bro, I love your photos. I know you've never shot a wedding, but I fully trust that you're going to crush it. Can I pay you $500 to shoot my wedding?" I said yes immediately. $500 was like a gold mine to me at that point. And I appreciate him so much for giving that opportunity, because it led to more weddings. It led to more weddings. And then COVID happened years later. I think it was about 4 years after my first wedding that COVID happened. And I was already experiencing burnout with weddings. There were so many times where I remember one time I sent a whole wedding video to a client and didn't even get a thank you. And that just really irritated me. Not to say that I deserve all the thankfulness in the world, but you spend a whole week basically editing this video, this special memory, and you don't even get a thank you. There's also another wedding where I was recording the bride saying some sweet words about the now husband, because it was after they got married. It was during the reception. And since the music was super loud, we were trying to get away from it so that we could hear what she had to say. Well, I learned a big lesson that day, which is get the sweet words before the reception, because what happened is now people are drunk. They see me and my assistant, who was helping me shoot the wedding, veer off to the side trying to get her in private to say some sweet words. And it turned into this whole dramatic event. They thought we were trying to do something with her. An aunt or an uncle, I can't even remember, started cussing me out and all this shit. And I was just like, this is the icing on the cake for me, because I don't want to shoot this shit anymore. You're already dealing with bridezillas and whatever. And so going into COVID, I'll never forget it. I remember the day before I shot my last wedding, it was right when COVID got announced. And I was really trying to understand, like, should I shoot this wedding? Is it ethically wrong for me to still shoot this wedding? It was for a fraternity brother of mine that I brushed with. We were very close, and I was very close to his wife now, and was very involved in their lives. Eventually, I was like, I can't say no to this. Like, I'm not gonna not shoot this wedding because I was doing photography and video for that wedding. So I ended up shooting it, and it all went great. Honestly, like one of the most beautiful films that like I'm most proud of, and some beautiful photos. It turned out to be a beautiful day. But after that, there were no weddings. There was nobody worried about marketing. It was all shut down. Everybody just staying home. So there was no need for my services. I had said yes to weddings all the way up until this point, and then I realized I just couldn't say yes to it anymore because it was just not fulfilling me. I was burnt out with it. I was tired of dealing with just like the back and forth, and sometimes you'd have good clients and sometimes you wouldn't. And look, I could have definitely pivoted the way that I approached my wedding business and still done it and probably found more fulfillment in it, but it just wasn't really exciting to me. So I say all this to say you won't really know what to say no to until you've said yes to it over and over and over. And then you really realize, okay, this is not my lane. But you have to say yes to fully figure that out. Looking back, if I would have just said no and to that very first wedding opportunity because I didn't want to shoot weddings or whatever, like it wouldn't have led me to the next step. And when you're in your 20s, you're just trying to get your reps in. You just gotta do shit to know what you don't want to do. Like that is the whole point of it. And look, you're gonna find things that you fucking love. Like I'm still creating these YouTube videos after 5 years of posting on YouTube, right? I love this. So use your 20s to just bust your ass off, say yes until you can't, continue trying new shit, be open minded, most of all. Don't be closed minded thinking that you have it all figured out, because I promise you, you don't have shit figured out. And that's okay. That's the whole point. You're not supposed to have shit figured out. The whole goal is to try so much shit out that by the age of 30, on your 30th birthday, you have so much clarity as to who you are, your skill level, what it is that you want to do with your life. And now at age 30, let's double down and let's get more serious about what direction we're going. And the reason why you want to have this mindset during your 20s is because you're young enough to recoup your failures. If you go down one lane and you massively fuck up, guess what? You're still in your 20s. And there's probably a lot of people out there who haven't even tried shit. So while it may feel like you are far behind, it's all in your head because you have so much time to recover that you'll look back on it when you're 30, when you're my age, and you'll be like, dude, I had so much time to just like recover. Like I was really just like beating myself up for no reason. As you go through this, just understand there's going to be some level of failure, but be bold. Be bold and just fucking have balls. Approach life with some cojones, man. Like just go after what it is that you believe in. And look, you're going to believe in things that end up not turning out the way you wanted it to. And that is okay. The fact that you gave it a true shot is the most important part of your 20s. So if there's anything you take from this video, it's to just be bold, have balls, and just continue trying new shit out until shit clicks. And when shit isn't clicking, have the self-awareness to say, do I want to keep trying at this? Is this worth it for me? Do I see myself doing this in my 30s? Do I see myself doing this in my 40s? And if not, throw that shit in the trash. You did not waste time because you learned so much about yourself. You learned so much about that craft, and you can use that and apply that into every other area of your life, every other venture, business venture, content strategy, whatever. Everything can be applicable to everything. That's one thing that I've learned. And, that's why they say how you do anything is how you do everything. You can always apply small bits and pieces of your gym routine to business, of your morning routine to your relationship. Like everything is related in some way or another. The next huge lesson that I wish somebody would have just like made this so clear in my mind, because this is what caused so much of my self-sabotage, was I always felt like I was behind. I always was comparing myself to other creators and other people my age and other people who went down corporate life. Like I graduated with a degree in finance and marketing and decided immediately that I didn't want to pursue that. It was just a degree. And you see people that, you were classmates with and y'all both crushed classes together and you were really, going down the craft of finance. And then you see them crushing in life and you're like, damn, like maybe I wouldn't be struggling with money right now if I just had done that. However, I realized that I am on my own unique path. There's nobody for me to compare myself to except for myself and the vision that I have for myself. So for you, as long as you are convicted in the path that you're choosing, that is all that matters. Ignore all the accolades and accomplishments of your peers and the people you look up to. Use it as inspiration, but the moment you start comparing yourself and feeling jealousy to the point where you start questioning your own self-worth and you start beating yourself up, I promise you, you are doing yourself a disservice and this is not going to serve you at all in the future. So just realize that this mindset will not serve me and make the choice to do the opposite, to just embrace the discomfort, to just try one more video today, to just try one more conversation today, to just make one more phone call. If you have this mindset of just one more, your entire life will change. This applies to the gym, just one more rep. This applies to relationships. Let me just check in one more time. This also applies to business. Let me just try another offer. Let me just build out another digital product and test it out. I was listening to a podcast today and there was some quote mentioned that entrepreneurship is a matter of learning how to send it. And when I mean send it, I mean like post the content, release the offer, pitch it when it's 60% done. The quicker you can get comfortable with just putting shit out that's 60% done, the better off you're going to be in the long run, especially as a creator, as an entrepreneur. And here's why. When you put shit out, we'll just talk about content, for example. When you put shit out at 60%, you are embracing this volume mindset that is detached from the outcome, but is still interested in the outcome so that you can refine and reassess and, iterate your process. But you can only make big, massive leaps in your strategy and the way you approach things by getting feedback. And when you're trying to be a perfectionist and trying to make the fucking perfect video, you end up spending a whole month on a video as opposed to 4 videos per month. This is not really a recipe for making massive progress in your life. So be comfortable with just shipping, just sending it, just put it out. You can always remake the video in the future. And guess what? The data that you get from just putting something out at 60% is going to help you make the next one at 70%. But it's only through that feedback. Don't compare yourself. Just believe in yourself, believe in your path, and I promise you, you'll make so much progress. As long as you just continue getting back up, especially when you get knocked down, just get back up. Just one more punch, just one more rep, just one more video. Now, another thing I would really recommend you do, no matter what age you are, is to start documenting your life. There are so many moments through my roller coaster of my 20s, going through COVID and everything, that I documented because I was starting a YouTube channel at this time. And this has served me so well, just being able to look back and see myself in video form in 4K, processing life, sharing my experiences, sharing my lessons. That gives me so much context just internally of my growth, and also gives me a lot more content to refer to. Some of the best content out there are the ones that are about transformations. And if you don't take your before picture before you start really hitting in the gym, then you don't really have like a before and after to show in content. And maybe I'm saying this because I'm a content creator. And if you are a content creator, then maybe this serves you more. But just in general, anybody who's willing to just document their journey is going to have so many more assets to use to tell a story, to inspire other people, and also just to inspire yourself to see your journey of growth, to see how far you've come. You and I both know that if you're watching this right now, you're already curious about your own growth, you're going to be successful. It's just a matter of time and effort and consistency. And when you do reach that milestone of your first success or whatever, you want to have things to share your journey about. Like, Document your life. It's definitely not going to hurt anything. And I'm not saying to record your whole life every day. Just capture moments. Talk about your experience. Document the lessons that you're learning along the way and be willing to share those with other people, because that is how we both make this world a better place. Now, the last thing I want to touch on is relationships. I spent half of my 20s in a relationship that taught me so much, but looking back, I realized that the relationship went on way longer than it needed to. I don't want to encourage you to avoid relationships. It's not what I'm saying. I just want to encourage you to really be real with yourself. Is this relationship serving me? Do I see this relationship being successful in my 30s? Because for me, I sought the approval of my partner for so long, and it became a comfort bubble for me. I'm taking ownership of this, okay? It's not my ex's fault. But having that self-awareness, like I deep down knew that the relationship wasn't going to work out, but I avoided it because I was too busy building a business. I was too busy like worrying about content. I didn't have the time and energy to like break things off or, explore the idea of not being with her until she decided to leave me. And I'm so thankful that she did, because after that, going on my own journey, living alone for the first time in my entire life, it really just showed me so much about life. It showed me so much about myself and my potential. And having all of that energy to give back to myself was so useful. And like, I'm so grateful for just everything that happened. So that's why I say, like, I'm not saying to not pursue relationships, because man, did it teach me so much. And I don't think I would like be where I am today without the knowledge that I learned from that relationship. But what I'm saying here is just be real with yourself. Like deep down, and if you know that a relationship isn't serving you, have the balls to say, this isn't serving me. And I think we either need to have a deep conversation and really rewire things, or maybe it's best that we move on. For the longest time, I was afraid of being alone. I was afraid of being by myself with my thoughts. And, I grew up a lonely kid. And so I used her as a crutch to feel okay in myself. And the fear of being alone is what kept me in the relationship, which obviously didn't serve me. Being rejected by the person that I thought I was going to marry, it forced me to look inward. There's this beautiful quote that says, adversity will reveal a man to himself. Adversity will reveal a man to himself. Heartbreak, hardship, all the shit that's super difficult in life, be willing to face that head on with some balls, because there's so much wisdom to gain from those experiences that you will look back on those super difficult chapters and be like, holy, like I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it. Like it taught me so much. And I just, if I could go back and say something to my younger self, is just don't be afraid to be alone. There's so much beauty and wisdom and growth that comes from just being with yourself. And had I known that sooner, maybe I would have been willing to go our separate ways sooner. But, everything happens for a reason. There's a purpose behind the timing of everything. And ultimately, life is just a matter of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, especially in your 20s. Like, in your 30s and your 40s, we don't want to necessarily have this mindset as much because we don't have enough time to recover. But man, your 20s is such a great time to just fucking do whatever you want. Just be careful with doing whatever you want too much in terms of just like partying and wasting away your potential and whatnot, because it does require you to show up for yourself, to show up in a healthy manner, to be consistent, to be productive. But at the same time, don't forget to have fun either. Like, your 20s is the time where you can stay up all night and still have energy to like crush it the next day. I am definitely realizing this year has showed me so much that I'm getting older and I can't sacrifice sleep the way that I used to. I can't, stay up late playing video games, looking at a screen the way that I used to, because it makes too much of an impact, a negative impact on my work, on my energy throughout the day, my energy in relationships, and This is ultimately what sends you forward in your life. So just focus on you first and give the energy that you have left over to the people you love, to the things you care about. As long as you are prioritizing yourself and your energy, filling up your own bucket, watering your garden first, it's only a matter of time that you reap the rewards of all the seeds that you've planted in your 20s. I guess another way of putting it is your 20s is your time to plant seeds. It's not to make the biggest fucking tree. It's not to make the most successful garden immediately. It's just to plant seeds. Watch how it's growing. Is it growing the way you want it to? Is something growing weeds next to it? Why is it doing that? Like being curious and thinking objectively about your life is what's going to serve you in the long run. So get out there and crush it. Don't be too hard on yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people. This is the time to just fucking throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. When you throw shit at the wall, just fucking have fun throwing it at the wall. And when something falls all the way to the ground, just be like, oh, that didn't work. What else can I throw? And this mindset alone will help you make so much more progress in your 20s. And as much as you possibly can, avoid self-sabotage at all costs, because self-sabotage is not an act of self-love. And I don't care how macho or masculine you think you are, we all need some self-love, because we wake up thinking about ourselves and we go to sleep thinking about ourselves. So if you're not filling your cup up, if you're not prioritizing your own energy, you will get the shit end of the stick, I promise you, and you will not be proud that you did it. Life is ultimately a matter of getting out of your own way. Being a man is a matter of getting out of your own way and just going out there, seeking the next kill and bringing back what you can to feed the loved ones. And listen, if you are pursuing something and you are on the verge of quitting, I want you to watch this video, because it's going to help you really analyze whether or not it is time to quit, or if you are just experiencing some level of self-sabotage and it's not serving you. I love you. Get out there, crush it, have some balls, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.